ELISA Levine is the director of Sweetheart Deal. This is a heartbreaking documentary, and she is going to tell us about it today. We have her here with us. Welcome, ELISA Levine, to the show. ELISA, thank you for joining us today on the show. Your film Sweetheart Deal is playing this weekend.
That's right. It's tonight at the Laemmle Royal is our big first Q&A. We're going to be playing from today through the 24th.
Tell us about the film. And I know someone who helped with it. Alan Pruzan is,
Right.
I've been friends with him for about 3-4 decades, Alan, and he helped finance this movie and was one of the producers. So tell us about how you pulled this project together and what inspired it.
Sure. I hate to ask, have you already seen it or not yet?
I have not seen it. I've only seen the trailer, and I told Alan, I told my friend Alan, I said, I don't know if I can handle this movie. I'm being honest. I don't know if I saw the trailer, and we're going to watch the trailer. I have not seen it. It's heartbreaking. So tell us about it.
Sure. So, I'm never exactly sure where to start, but I was very inspired by the film Streetwise from the 80s about homeless street kids in Seattle. And I was really inspired by like this verite style. After moving to Seattle, I was very interested in Aurora Avenue, which is kind of like our red light district. It's like old, kitschy motels and, a lot of sadness and a lot of people drawn back there again and again against their better judgment. And so it felt real to me as opposed to a lot of things in Seattle that feel very false. So I always knew that I wanted to do something to do with that. So I was looking for stories on Aurora and eventually stumbled upon this guy who was outside working on his RV generator. And he was just kind of like, you can stop looking now. You've met me. I am the mayor of Aurora Avenue. I know everybody out here. I know everyone there is to know. And, I help the women out here. He had this whole spiel about how he's like this helper and that inside his RV, it was like a resting place for people to come and hang out and everything. And he told me that if and when people are ready, he was prepared to walk them through the process of kicking heroin. So the women who were walking by on that strip, they were all working as sex workers. They were all the ones that I was encountering. They were all addicted to heroin. And so he had kind of set up shop there, for a long period of time, way before we got there. And so that's kind of how it began. And then ended up filming observationally inside the RV, for several years, and then branching out with the stories that happened with the women. And of course, I'm not sure how many spoilers I want to give away, but I can kind of, I can definitely tell you, and the trailer does hint at the fact that things did not, he did not end up to be the person that he had initially portrayed himself as and such.
Well, we will look at the trailer, but of course, when I think of sex workers, Julia Roberts comes to mind, and the movie Pretty Woman, and the glamorous, kind of cute hooker with a heart of gold.
Oh,
all of that comes to mind, and a sweet story. Even a movie like Honora we reviewed earlier in the show is also the story of a sex worker. Love happens, they get married. This is not that. And when I saw the trailer as a father to a daughter, to see what these women have gone through, we should look at the trailer now and then talk about it. We can watch it together. We'll talk about it on the other side. I know the movie got a really good review on Film Threat, but I have to admit I have not seen it, but I can still ask you questions about it. Here is the trailer. So Alan, if you would, here we go right now.
something happens somewhere along the way in life and they take a wrong turn, and a lot of people end up on Aurora because they're lost.
You have prostitution on your record, people don't want to hire you.
Hi. Not a cop or anything, right?
Then you add addiction. It's a cycle.
I have 3 kids, 2 girls and a boy.
The girl in the pink up top, that's Maddie. She used to talk to me all the time. She won't talk to me now.
This is my senior picture. At this time, I still had 4.0 grades. I wasn't what I've become now, where I'm living on the streets.
I watched you grow up as a little child. When you go out there at night and do what you do, it scares the holy, ever-living, loving hell out of me.
I haven't met a working girl who has gotten out of the life and not come back to it. Whether or not we actually like each other out here, I think there's some level of respect. That's how we stay alive.
LA is a good guy. I really value the fact that I can knock on his door and be safe.
I've been here on Aurora for 10 plus years. They're gonna get warm. I'll dry their clothes out. I'll give them a cup of hot chocolate. Happy birthday.
Oh my God, you actually got me a card. Not even my own parents got me a card.
He's not called mayor of Aurora for nothing.
How many women and girls would you estimate work this area?
100?
And are you accommodating?
Oh. I really understand the psychology behind the drugs, the psychology behind the monsters. The monster wants to lead you down the wrong path. Initially, it tries to subtly lure you away, and it'll raise its head every opportunity.
I love him and I hate him at the same time.
You know I care, but you have to care too. Gonna warn everybody about me, huh? How I mistreated you and fed you and fattened you up. The healthier you get, the unfriendlier you get.
This was a deal that worked for both of us most of the time.
Hey, I should say we gave Sweetheart Deal a 9 out of 10. Josiah reviewed it. He says saying that Sweetheart Deal is emotionally taxing is an understatement, but watching it is beyond fulfilling. It's authentic, brutal, empathetic, and above all, freeing.
I obviously I saw your trailer and it's horrifying to me. I don't know, like it just seems like for me to watch that film would be traumatic. But yeah, and just to live that, I know what it takes to a documentary like that is so intimate. You're spending time with those people. Mm-hmm. What's been the reaction? I mean, you know, you saw the quotes from many reviews. And by the way, Sean Baker saw your movie and gave you a quote. So
he did. I'm a big fan of Sean's. I should just say, you know, there are some rays of hope at the end. You're taken on kind of this roller coaster of a journey, but by the end of it, you're walking out of there with some, you know, it's definitely not like a redemption story or something like that, but it's very surprising some of the stuff that ends up happening and some, you know, the stuff that the women end up, I'm trying not to say too much, but you know, kind of like fighting back and stuff like that. And so you'd survive if you watch it. But anyway,
I mean, hope is a powerful drug. Let me ask you this question, but because it sounds like you walked into the documentary with a story in mind, and that story changed, mid-course. Can you speak to that in terms of a documentarian and how the shifting story affected how you approached the shifting story?
Yeah. So, you know, we didn't really know what we were walking into because you're walking into a whole other world and everything. But, we were kind of just seeing how the interactions went and, you know, observing all these dramas unfolding and stuff like that in the RV and outside of there. But, it's really hard to talk about that without being too spoilery. So I might have to be a little spoilery here. So is that okay?
Yes. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So anyone who doesn't want to hear spoilers, so turn this off. So, it's revealed in the course of the film that so this guy is supposed to be helping these women, and it turns out that he is actually basically Bill Cosby style, while he's giving them drugs that are supposed to help them kick, he is taking advantage of them, and there ends up being a court case and all this stuff. He ends up being found out and being arrested. He recorded it all on his phone, and everything. And so, it was a major turning point. It was very disturbing and horrifying, and it was for the women and for us. And so we just kept going with following the things as they unfolded. We had to really jump on it to, get into the court and everything like that and be able to do that. And then we followed up with the women to see how they were working through this and processing it. And, there ends up being like a sentencing hearing and stuff like that with one of the women in the film present giving a statement at the end and everything. So I think we were kind of ready for anything, but we weren't expecting that. So it's just kind of like, when you go into a documentary and you ask for a good story, wish for a good story, it's like, be careful what you wish for. So it's a good story, but it's, it's devastating, but it's also has a lot of hope and, survival and, kind of amazing what these women did, they came through on the other side of this.
We're looking at the website now, which is sweetheartdeal.com, sweetheartdealmovie.com. We'll put the link in the description. We have over 1,000 people watching live. I want to go to our viewers' comments and questions, if you don't mind. But go to the website. It lists the theaters that are playing. You can get tickets. You are doing a Q&A tonight at the Laemmle. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. At the Laemmle Royal, we're going to do a Q&A. We have a 7:10 screening, and the filmmaker Zachary Drucker is going to be our guest moderator. We have another one tomorrow night too with Peggy Reisky is going to be our moderator.
So go to sweetheartdealmovie.com. Check out the screening times and whatnot. Let's get to our comments and questions from our viewers and in the chat. Timothy Tickleff, when you learn with some of what these women go through, the last thing you think of is sex. Yeah, I'm sure. The nerd far away. Hail, Ms. Levine. Do you think there's a message of hope in all of this?
I would say come see the film. I think there is a message of hope, and that it's amazing what human beings can go through and still keep trying. I mean, I saw these women, like, even if they weren't succeeding in whatever it was they were, if they're just trying to emotionally succeed, get out of it, but they're also dealing with addictions at the same time. I definitely think there's a message of hope. I do. It's not like, naive or, but this movie, we're trying to be pretty real about the way things are. And also just to say, these are not your empowered sex workers. This is not, they wouldn't even call themselves sex workers. These are people who were out there. This is survival sex. This is, they were trying to feed an addiction, get money to pay for drugs, and the cycle was continuing. So
some comments here. Adelis24, I can't imagine having to sit in the editing room watching this footage over and over. And Timothy Tickleff says, I like learning the truth, even darker truths. And here's a comment and a question. Aaron Sharman, who's a member, the movie captures some deeply personal and painful moments in the lives of these women. How did you build the trust necessary for them to open up in such an intimate way?
I would say, like, I was wondering how do you do this kind of film? Even before I started, I didn't know how you did this style. And I would say that if you're doing this type of film that's like verite, observational, and long form thing, you need to spend as much time with the camera off, or much more time probably with the camera off than you do on. And with the the people getting to know you, they say participants now, the participants getting to know you, you getting to know them, that, you develop like close relationships. And that's why you're able to see them really letting their guard down in front of the camera.
Another question here, the last question for us, because we have to end on time because of 2 more questions. Caveat ties ever feel endangered while shooting?
Strangely enough, I didn't really. And my co-director Gabriel Miller also, I think there was actually one incident outside where somebody was like eyeing the camera. But we were never, strangely enough, we did not feel unsafe or whatever in the RV. The kind of stuff that this guy was doing was much more of he was not doing it in front of us. And it was also much more of a long con. He was very charismatic, and it felt relaxed and trusting, and we were in some dicey situations though, like in hotel rooms and stuff like that, but I wouldn't do the same film out there now, though. It's much more dangerous out there on Aurora.
And last question here from Thomas Pickett for 5, who's a member. Thank you for supporting the channel. Do you think if sex work was legal, would these women have problems with drugs?
Oh, sure. Give me an easy question to end with.
Yeah. Well, not an easy question.
I don't know. I think that the drug, no, I don't think that would necessarily solve everything. It's hard. It's so complicated. Why someone gets into drugs in the first place and everything, like chicken or egg situation.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
I think you hit it there. It's the reason why you get on drugs. That's the problem. The drugs is there as the temporary cure, and unfortunately, it's the addictive temporary cure that makes it so dangerous, and forces people to do what they do to get it.
And a lot of people are coming from like complex trauma situations, and some were from poverty, some weren't, and everything. But I don't know. That's a complicated question, but interesting.
And Uncle Pappy Wolfer 2, what do you want the viewers to take away from this?
I feel like what I take away from it, and what I want people to kind of take away from it, is I want people to see themselves in these women. And also, if whatever you're going through, whatever difficult battle that you're fighting, I think that this can give you strength in that, like, I'm always doubting myself, and I'm always, I talk about imposter syndrome and stuff like that. And I'm just like, you know what, shut up. Look what Krista did. Look what these women did. And, pull your pants up and, I think you can, it's like, it gives you, it shows what, I think it's just encouraging and positive overall, and will hopefully make you feel better about whatever you're dealing with. Yeah.
Well, ELISA LEVINE, congratulations on the film. Thank you so much for tackling a tough topic. So tough. I have a hard time. That trailer was just heartbreaking. Good luck with all the screenings. sweetheartdealmovie.com. Go to there, watch the trailer, look for screenings and whatnot. And thanks again for coming on the show to tell us all about your film.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. And I'm a big fan of the show, by the way. So.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Come back when you have your next doc. I appreciate it.
In another 10, 15 years.
Okay. Yeah, sure. All right. Take care. Thanks again.
Thank you.